All right, welcome to the KISS FAQ. It's a really cool day today. Finally announced is KISS Destroys Anaheim 1976. This is an off the soundboard on steroids. You know, going back a few years, we've seen the hints of what's possible when a podcast took a tour of Iron Mountain's vault and we're going through some of the real shelves. We got a glimpse of some Dress to Kill multi-tracks, and right behind them, you could just zoom in and ever so slightly see multi-track reels for Anaheim. Now, we didn't know if they were going to have all the reels because this is Universal and this is inside the vault, and not everything is always where you think it's going to be. But I think it's clear that with this release, they do have everything that's needed to take those multi-tracks recorded in 1976, have Eddie Kramer mix them, and now it's going to be released. Absolute off the soundboard on steroids. This is not a board mix or monitor mix that a lot of those cassette sourced off the soundboards have been. This is a real deal, freshly mixed and mastered in 2026 for the 50th anniversary of what was kind of described in some circles as the Summer of Satan. KISS Online's already out for VIPs, are able to go and browse some of the merchandise that's available with this property. Some of the hype that they've put up so far that is universal amongst them, that it celebrates the 50th anniversary of one of the most seminal concerts in KISStory. On August the 20th, 1976, KISS performed in front of their largest audience to date, 42,000 plus fans at Anaheim Stadium. Now, let's just do some corrections there. Their largest American confirmed audience, because the Keishi show in March the 31st, 74, ranged from 40,000 to over 100,000 people there. But this is certainly confirmed. The box score reported for that show was an attendance of 42,987. So you could say nearly 43,000 people at the Anaheim Stadium that day in August 1976. Regardless, you know, obviously the South American shows that they did in 1983, which weren't the original band, did have far more. Again, those numbers have reached legendary status in terms of the size and scope growing with each telling. But this one is a big deal. The video's been out for ages. Even the audio in various forms has been out for decades in some cases. The KISS Destroys Anaheim, Unnecessary Evil bootlegs dating back to the 1970s have been this show. This show has been through all the permutations and treatments possible on the bootleg circuit, but here we are. KISS is doing it right. KISS is putting it together as a package. So let's go through some of the things that are available and that have been announced for it. Let's start off with the KISS Destroys Anaheim 2LP picture disc at a price of $89 on pre-order. Comes with a collectible coin. The coin is the new sweatshirt or t-shirt to be bundled with items, so I think that's a really cool idea, though I still think that a ribbon board would be very cool. If we're the KISS Army, how about for each campaign you get a new ribbon to put on your ribbon board? Then they can sell you a dress uniform as well to put that sucker on with all your medals. But talking about the Anaheim product today, here it is. They've done a full color cover. They've done a booklet, a poster, 2LP picture discs, and a coin that looks pretty cool as well, celebrating the bicentennial of the U.S. with that classic bicentennial shot from the band. So some of the other details about this is exclusive to this edition. The 60-minute plus concert is pressed on 2LP picture disc vinyl, along with a 40-page book filled with extensive liner notes by Ken Sharp, unreleased photos and memorabilia imagery, all showcased in a slipcase. Very cool. Talk about that attention to detail and going the extra mile. And that price point is absolutely shocking. Let's take a look at the SHM CD. So that's the Japanese format that's very popular. Just just higher material grade CDs, which play in any regular CD player. So this bundle includes, again, look at the price, it's $71.98, includes the CD, the collectible coin, looks slightly different than the other version. Again, the 60-page book, because obviously CD format, it's going to change it from LP size in a soft pack case. Yeah, I'm in for that for certain, because I don't like LPs. I love CDs still. So that looks very cool, all the way down to the Obi and a CD print. So very cool, very well designed, it appears. Moving on to the next one, we get the 2LP color, and that's got a really psychedelic lava lampish splatter type deal. Let's see how this one's described. This one is just 2LP color vinyl. So again, it may differ from what appears in the image right now on the screen. $37.99 is a really good price point for a 2LP. And again, you get the extra tchotchkes included in there, including liner note highlights, because they don't have as much space for that. And it looks like it's got a poster, but I don't see anything particularly relating to that in the current hype. So moving on again to yet another one. Here's just the regular black vinyl version. Again, that looks great. I may actually have to go with the LP as well on that, because that just looks really good. And there's still space in my KISS 2014 road case for a few more LPs. So $37.99 gets you either the color or regular. Again, I don't think there's a lot of room to be complaining about this one whatsoever. I'm sure someone will find a way, but I'm super stoked about this. So you can get just the CD on its own for $13.98. That suggests that it may be available on streaming. We'll wait and see. The track listing, just looking at that quickly, that is complete. That appears to be the complete show. I'm not sure if they've had to edit any of the solo raps or any of that stuff, but it looks like that is the full show. And certainly KISS concerts back in those days were about 75 minutes, so totally within the realms of what is possible on a single CD. So very cool again. Baseball jersey. What's more American than a KISS 1976 jersey? So KISS 76, that looks pretty cool, actually, but I already have the Dynasty one. All right, another t-shirt is up at $40. Again, riffs off the, design from the Destroyer album. Sizes available up through 3XL for the chubs amongst us. Another design building off the cover art that they've used. So they put effort into creating some pretty visually appealing cover art. Again, it's a Destroyer tour show, so the Destroyer image is there. I don't think if anyone's thinking that you're going to get something different for a Destroyer property, it is what it is. I think it's very cool and it's vibrant. Love how they've worked with the original logo coloring there from the album. And then this one will probably sell out if they've not made it limited edition. The pendants have done very well previously, so nice to see them revisit that. And at Anaheim Angel Stadium, you gotta go with that sort of thing. So getting back into just a little bit of the history of this show. Eddie Kramer was reported in Billboard as recording this show in the summer of 1976 with Biff Dawes assisting on the engineering side. He did a contract with KISS around that time. Was paid $1,000 for his services in October 1976, and then they had obviously the arrangement for the use of the material were that going to be the case. I'd always wondered if recordings like this were later incorporated into a live tune anyway, and hopefully we'll find out one day if that were the case. So just focusing back in quickly, here's the reel from that podcast episode, the tour of Iron Mountain, where we got our first glimpse, and we all immediately, those of us on the collecting side, really wondered whether this would become a reality, and here we are years later. It is indeed a reality. All right, so KISS Destroys Anaheim is available for pre-orders now for VIP members of KISS Online. Go over to KISS Online right now and sign up if you're interested for that. You not only get a t-shirt, and some other chalk-keys as part of your membership package, but you do get early access to orders. Material such as this often comes in handy for things that are going to be limited edition. You also get access to multimedia features and other things on the website. So if it's right for you, give it a shot. And if not, I believe it will be available in other areas before too long. So Kiss Destroys Anaheim, the team getting it right. Yeah, can't wait for this one. Very excited. Well done.